Hello, my leaders. Welcome to another awesome week. Thank you so much again for serving. Easter was amazing, wasn't it? So thank you guys for all that you do each week, just providing a community and a place for people to have small groups, to connect together, because that's why our church, I feel like, is so healthy, because we connect, we love, we encourage, and it all happens inside these small groups. And so you guys are making a difference. Thank you. Thank you for all that you do. This first activity, we are still on the puzzled theme. And so this one is about asking God questions. Okay, so it's about doubting Thomas and how Thomas didn't believe anyone and how he had some questions and whatnot, leading to, is Jesus really alive? What's going on here? And so it's a really cool and important story for these kids to know that they can ask questions, and that's okay. Like, we can ask questions about our faith. We need to ask questions so that we can grow in our faith too. And so this first activity, you'll have some rubber bands and some different objects, like maybe some Easter eggs or something. You can place those on a chair or a table, and they're going to try to hit the Easter eggs with the rubber bands. Okay, so this is just a warm-up activity, something for them to do in the meantime. While this is happening, if you do have some kids that are not listening to the rules and are hitting each other with their rubber bands, then just feel free to take this one away and move on to the next thing. Okay, and just be like, hey guys, I can't trust you guys to do this. We're just going to keep moving on to something that we can talk about. Okay, and so I want to create this idea and essence of trust, especially with some of the boys that are getting a little bit out of hand. And so definitely be pouring into them about like this idea of trust and what trust really means. And it's like, if I can't trust you guys to do this activity, then we're not going to do the fun activities. We're going to do the other ones. But my primary goal is to teach you guys about Jesus. And so I want to teach you guys about Jesus in the fun way, but if I have to teach about Jesus in the not so fun way, then that's how I'm going to do it. And so just be like, hey, like, this is how it's going to be. I want to have fun with you guys. I want to do the fun activities, but if we can't be respectful and do the rules that are set in place, then we can't do them. And so just keep honing that in with your kids. And the more that you do that, the more that you establish, like, you have a choice. If you want to do it right, you can do it right and we can have fun. Or if you want to disrespect the rules and not do what I've asked, then we'll just go on to the activities that don't require any sort of movement, and that's going to make it hard for them too. And so help them realize that a little bit too. So this next activity, it's a really true false activity. So what they're going to do is they're going to stand up if they think that whatever you're going to say is true, or sit down and say, I don't think so, if they think it's false. Okay. And so for instance, like, you have all these kind of true falses things on there. And the couple at the end, there's a few extra that we added down there that's all about, hey, if you want to dive deeper, if the kids are getting into this, then start diving into these, especially if you have a few more minutes before large group. This would be a really good one to kind of get their brains working on true or false and what truth is, and, asking questions and figuring out the facts, right? Figuring out the facts of things. Then you're going to hear a story from the interns. The interns did a really funny job this time, so it's a good one. Then it's again about the story of Thomas. And so Thomas is going to be, doubting Thomas. I'm not sure what's happening with these disciples. His disciples say that they heard Jesus and saw Jesus, but he hasn't seen him yet. And, he didn't really believe until he touched the hands where the nails were and the feet where the hole was for Jesus. And so he didn't really believe until that happened. But then, of course, he does that. He feels it, he sees it for himself, and then he believes it. And so that's okay. That sometimes we need God to just prove something to us, and so proving that he's real, proving that the Bible is real. God can handle those questions. He's not too small for that, or he's not scared to prove himself. And so we're pushing that today a lot. Okay. This next one, you'll have some puzzles, and basically you'll have all three puzzles: a God, a problems, and a Bible. And they're all going to be cut up into different puzzle pieces, and they're all going to be mixed together. Okay. So when they're all mixed together, you're going to have the teams work on separating these puzzles, putting them all together. But instead of one big puzzle, it's really three different ones. Okay. And so then you're going to come up with a question for them on some doubts or questions that people often have about God or the Bible, or just problems that they face in life. Okay. And so I really want to focus in on God and the Bible, obviously. So try to focus on those. Just be like, what are some questions that people have about God and the Bible, or you have about God and the Bible, whatever. And then kind of start to puzzle those out and be like, hey, let's talk about these things. Let's go deep into these. This one's going to be a very discussion based day. And so when we're talking today, it's discussion based, but it's good and it's healthy. And I think the kids will be really engaged because they're the ones that are asking the questions. So feel free to pull me aside if you do have a question that's like, I don't know how to answer this one, and then I'll do my best to help. Okay. This next activity, you're going to have kids do a tic-tac-toe grid. And so you have them do a tic-tac-toe grid, and then what they're going to do is they're going to write in each grid a either a character or something that happened in the Bible story, or just some sort of different word that relates back to the Bible story. Okay. And so if they put like the word doubt in there, that could be a good one, or Thomas, or Jesus, or holes for the hands, right? You can kind of think of a few different words that they can put in relating to the Bible story. Then you can play kind of like a bingo where you call out one of the words that a kid has on there, and then the first couple kids that gets like a full tic-tac-toe looking thing with a line struck through it, they just win. And so see if you can get as many kids as you can to do that, to see if they were all really paying attention to all the details and stuff like that. That'll be a fun one. Then some extra discussion questions. So go through these two. Again, these discussion questions, it's a huge one for this one, but it's going to be a good one because they're going to be coming up with a lot of that content for you. Now this next activity, which is the last big activity, it's the memory verse activity. But what you're going to do is you're going to have two different cans, and you're going to have a can of Diet Coke and a can of regular Coke. And so and then a big thing of water. And with this water, one of the cans is going to drop to the bottom, and the other one's going to kind of float a little bit. And the difference is the sugar content in the two of them that there are. Okay, so they're both filled with liquid. We haven't tampered with them in any way, but you're going to notice that like the artificial sweetener in the diet floats, okay, because there's not as much in there, so it doesn't drag it down. And so then you can go into a couple of discussion questions on that too, of like, how did asking questions and hearing true facts about the cans help you get rid of the doubts as to which one would float and which one wouldn't? Because you have a couple of bullet points here that are some facts about it. And so kind of talk about these facts before you put the cans in, and then they'll be like, oh, like maybe I changed my decision now that I know some of those facts and stuff like that, you know, like the facts that I just told you about the sugar content. And so, and then you can also say, is it wrong to ask, to doubt God or ask questions about why things happen the way that they do? And again, just honing in on God is bigger than these questions. He can handle them. And so ask God about your questions. Ask trusted Christian individuals these questions, like you, or like a pastor or a parent if they follow Jesus and whatnot too. Those are all good questions and things to ask. Then the last one is about prayer, right? And so sitting in a circle, just praying and talking about these doubts, talking about these questions, and following up with the questions that they have too. 4th and 5th grade boys, you will also have a round table now in your classroom. With that round table, I'm doing that intentionally because your guys need to kind of hone in a little bit more and stop being so wild and crazy when you're trying to focus in on the actual content. And so definitely just honing it again on, let's like sit down, take some time, and have them do that to where a lot of these activities work with the table anyway. And so, but hopefully that'll help you guys really focus in. So we're going to try that for the next couple of weeks. That's it for this week, guys. Thank you guys so much for all that you do. I will see you guys on Sunday.